Ladies and gentlemen, right here before you in Brooklyn, from the West Coast of Demerara, a man who has grown even taller. My friend, Mr. Eddie Hooper. Yes, you know. My different guy. You gotta get over. Thank you. You know, whenever you have past memories, it sort of promotes friendship. But I don't have to ask where are your friends, so I can see all my friends from. I can see them. I'm over there. Where are your friends now? Have they gone away? Or have they left you to go astray? It could never be. That's what I used to say. But it just had to be there the very way as when you left me. Where are those friends now? Oh yeah, where are they? Why don't you get down on your knees and pray? Even prayer will help you, because it has to be just the same way, the very way as when you left me. I used to say that nothing would ever come between you and me. As time went by, I knew that couldn't be. I used to say that nothing could ever come between you and me. In my heart, as I sing this song, I know I wasn't wrong. Where are those friends now? Oh yeah, where are they? Why don't you get down on your knees and pray? But even prayer won't help you, because it has to be done just the same way, the very way as when you left me. Even prayer won't help you, because it has to be just the same way, the very way as when you left me. Just the same way when you left me. Just the same way, the very way when you left me. Just the same way when you left me. Darling, just the same way, the very way when you left me. Just the same way when you. Your father knows about saving money. Everything I'm wearing, I've had since boot camp.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I don't like to say Guyana posse and Jamaican. I don't like that. I just say Caribbean people. Right? Because the thing change up now. It's CARICOM. Who come, who go. Sometimes I come, you go, you come, I come. CARICOM. All right. I'm going all the way to Guyana and bring you a man who's been in the business for about 30 years. And the man coming to tell us how the music burns inside. Changing the rhythm a little bit. Put your hand together. Let's welcome on stage Johnny Braff.
want to dedicate a song to all the beautiful mothers out there. I want to wish you a happy, happy Mother's Day. God bless you. Stop the music! It burns inside. Oh, love is a thing. It burns inside. If you should ever let it pass you by. Oh, love is the cherish and to hold. And never, oh, never, 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 ever let it go. For rain may never, ever pass away again. Hold on to love, my friends, and never, never let it go. Oh, love is the peace within your heart, and never, 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 baby, ever let it part. For rain may never, ever pass away again. Oh, hold down to love, my friends, and never, never let it. I'm gonna talk to you now. Oh, love, love is a thing. It burns inside. If you and everybody out there should ever let it pass you by, I'm telling you, people, oh Lord have mercy. Love is to be within your heart. Oh yeah. And never, Lord knows, never, 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 ever let it fall. Listen to me. For rain may never, ever pass away again. Hold on to love, my friends, and never, never let. Now sing along with me, please. Oh, love, everybody. Sweet love. One more time, come on. Oh, love. Sweet love. Oh, love. Sweet, sweet love.
Black America gave us Otis Redding and Percy Sledge and Sam Cooke of that generation. And Guyana gave the world Johnny Braff and Eddie Hooper. For my generation, the first Guyanese superstar that I encountered was Johnny Braff. I born and grew near to a rum shop. There were always rum shops, and they played Guyanese music. And then you had the radiogram come in, and then you had the cassette and so on. Johnny Braff was the first Guyanese superstar before Burnham, before Jagan, and all the others. Johnny Braff. It burns inside. In New York, they say that song is Guyana's second national anthem. And of course, before that, the evergreen Eddie Hooper. Passing memories and Where Are Your Friends Now? They will never die. that music, those songs will never die. When politics go and all the other things that we encounter, the music remains. It warms my heart to go back home, and even when we're away from home, and to see the young people still embrace this music. They still embrace the oldies. I'm glad to come from the same country, the same piece of earth, the same seed as Eddie Hooper and Johnny Braff. We are people too. We give the world gifts to. And those two brothers are two of the gifts that we have given the world. They have moved on to be where the ancestors, and I'm sure Johnny Braff, the showman, is still getting it on with the ancestors. Eddie Hooper, much more sedate on stage, but you listen to his lyrics, passing memories. Where are your friends now? They're not political lyrics, but the act of singing them is political. Every time a Guyanese, a West Indian, an African, an Indian takes to the public space, that stage, and they croon for us, that in itself is an act of resistance. They would rather us not croon. They would rather us not sing. They would rather us, as one South African cricket captain once said, they would rather us grovel. They would rather us work and work and work and no play. The very fact that our brothers and our sisters use their God-given voices to make us happy, to make us live for another day, to make us political people not become overly despondent. Passing memories, where we once sit and spoke of love divine, not just love, but love divine, not divine love. The poet is intentional and spoke of love divine. Taking the English language, which was used to rope us across the Middle Passage, to bring us here as indentured laborers, we use that English language. We give it beauty, beauty. And where we spoke of love divine, we give the English language that beauty. Love is a thing, not an act. Love is a thing that burns inside. Taking the language of the oppressor and turning it into a language of liberation. That's what we are talking about. They say all David Hines talk about is race. I teach them. We teach them because we are born teachers. You teach because you have something to teach. You have something to say. My American students always say, well, Dr. Hines, what is it with you people? You all are teaching politics, and then you slip in something to some John Coltrane and Percy Sledge. What does that have anything to do with politics? And you say, aha, let's talk about politics. They say all politics is local, but for oppressed people, everything is political. Good evening and welcome to you. I'm not alone tonight. I got my big man friend with me tonight, and he would appreciate what I'm talking about. It's Saturday night, and Friday night comes before Saturday night. Friday night, prepare, if you're from Linden, I remember going up to Linden as a young man with the WPA, and Friday afternoon was afternoon. You're going in time for when them banner get off from work, and they come to the public meeting there. And then, of course, once the public meeting is over, it's Friday night. So Friday night had two functions if you were in the cradle of the working class. Men coming out of the plant and coming for political nourishment. And then they take that political nourishment to the merriment. Good evening to you all and welcome to Politics 101. It's a Friday night. Sorry, we weren't able to make it last night. I want to dedicate tonight's show to some friends of mine in Arizona. You can pick up and go. And when you come back, your house is pick and span. You all know what I mean. You don't got to worry. You just throw down your thing and you go and sleep. You're blind, changed long time for Thanksgiving. And just change the blind for Thanksgiving. And so on. I want to say thanks to my friends here who take care of things when I'm gone, and I'm gone now for long. So I haven't been back here in about 3 months, and to come back and the yard is taken care of and the house is all set and so on. Thanks to my friends. My friend Nigel Narain, who keeps things going, into his family, the Narain family and the Williams family and all my friends. I dedicate tonight's program, and Nigel is going to be glad about me starting with some oldies, because he's an oldies man. He's an oldies man. So to the Narain family and the Emmanuel family and the Williams family, tonight's program is your program, and thanks for keeping things going while I'm gone. But tonight we are going to be lots to talk about. And Dr. Vincent Adams is here. He big. I love it. Last time they say you're old people. Them young people know change up the thing. Mr. Hines, you're big. Look, the West Indians have a way with language. I mean, and it has to be. We have a way with language, and we are constantly updating the language. That is what I'm saying. The English language. We have taken that language of oppression and turned that language into something beautiful. Dr. Adams, you big. But you're not stupid. Long time we used to say, you think we go to school August month. No, them young people changed up now. You're big, but you're not stupid. Oy, Lord. And this turn of the language. This turn of the language is not just big people. The young people are updating the language all the time. That is turning the English language into Creole, into Creolese. And they're constant. And you all are saying that we young people are not into it? I was telling my colleagues today, the other morning, I went to fill up my gas tank and so on at the gas station there. Little girl pumping the gas, and it was only girls pumping gas. Most of them are young women in their 20s and even younger. And she looked me up and down when she came to the window, and I said, well, fill me up. She looked me up and down, and she said, you's not Mr. Hines? I said, yes. She said, you're not in Parliament now? I said, yes. She said, I want to ask you something. You aren't supposed to have bodyguard? I stuttered because I didn't expect that question. She said, yeah, it's serious. You're not supposed to have bodyguard. I said, well, some of them have bodyguard. She said, well, I want to be your bodyguard. Because you see how they just cuss you up on Facebook and so on. I want to be your bodyguard to guard you. I said, how old are you? She said, 22. I said, what? And you want to be bodyguard? She said, yes, because I see how they just cuss you up on Facebook and you need a bodyguard. I came out of the car, I gave her a hug. She took out a selfie with me and she whispered, I vote APNU. I didn't vote win. And it's those young people that keep us going. They said, you know, we big people, we supposed to move half the scene. But you all hear what the young person asking? She ain't telling me move half the scene. She said she want to bodyguard me. Understand the militancy that is coming out there. Understand, this is a 22-year-old. She is pumping gas, so she's not from the elite. But she has a sense of the time. She's not pushing big people off the scene. She's saying, you are standing for us, and here is how I can help and begin to learn the process. Some other young people say, are you big people? Go home. Go home and mind your grandchildren. They know not of their own people. That young lady has a sense of the time and what is needed. And I'm sure she represents many other young people. Guyana, all is not lost. All is not lost. Let me bring in my brother.
Hey, Doc. Hey, when you believe that those young people are not paying attention, they are paying attention. You know?
Doc, I tell you, they're shocking the hell out of me. Because I get a chance now, whereas I could have only spent 5 minutes or 2 minutes with them before. Now I can spend a whole day, right? And they're shocking the hell out of me.
Yep.
Shocking the hell out of me.
Yeah, but that times, you know, let me fill in some details there. Of course, in your trip to Linden on a Friday afternoon, that's also, in terms of the merriment, that's payday.
Payday, but yeah.
That's also payday, boy. and the other thing is, them oldies bring back great memories. But you remember what was the song on the other side of the 45 on It Burns Inside?
It Burns Inside. By you beat me there by oh Lord.
Which was my favorite. Read it over.
Read it over. Read it over.
Read it over.
And you're right.
Yeah.
It Burns Inside made it big, but read it over.
Yep.
It's deep.
Yep.
Deep.
Yeah.
Talk to us. I mean, you're big now, but you ain't stupid.
Hey, them boys go back from this call me big man. Big man.
There you go. Lang tell him I call you uncle. No. Big man. Right. Big man. I made reference there to the updating of the language and the way in which our people would take that English language and do something. You came to America in which they're not too sure whether what we were speaking was English. And so you're constantly having to give them a history of the English language from the West Indian perspective. Talk to us about that thing, language, whether it's in song, poetry, or just community talk.
But I'm telling you, Dr. Knight, you know, it was very interesting in going through graduate schools and everything. People love, as a matter of fact, they used to tell me that, you know, that I speak perfect English, you know, and because Americans really don't speak, they communicate well. You know, they know that, but you know, we grew up in we had to do English grammar.
Yes.
You gotta get your class. and your phrase is correct. You remember class analysis and
And we would never say there is two problems.
that,
Americans say it with much ease. There is two problems. Oh,
but
I
they,
till up to
but
the
they
white kings when
understand
I
it.
hear that.
They just always tell me, well, so the whole thing about communication is for the party you speak to understand. It has nothing to do with the English language. But what was interesting, I remember when I was in graduate school, I had a very close Trinidadian friend. And so when we'd be playing table tennis together, and we had, some other American colleagues, and we'll be talking their names and laughing at them in our patois. So, and they would swear that we were speaking a foreign language.
Yeah.
So language is a fascinating thing in life. We could not convince them that it was English that we were speaking, except it was a broken English kind of a thing. They couldn't believe it, but we were speaking and laughing and talking their names and laughing at them, and they thought it was a foreign language.
Right, and indeed to them it's a foreign language because it is a language.
Yep.
It's really taking the English language and push it in the
Yep.
African languages that we brought with us, and then our East Indian brothers and sisters came and added their things to it. So we say sit down there, and
Yep.
East Indian brothers say sit down there. Taking the language, always taking the language to another level. And we rub that thing up. I passed through Kennedy Airport. I always love to pass through Kennedy Airport because to me, like all them people who walk in there Guyanese.
That's true, That is true, for truth.
I passed through, I see a bunch of Indo-Guyanese brothers, about 6 of them, like it was lunchtime, they're taking their little break and thing, and they're tearing the Guyanese talk. So I'm watching, I turn on a watch, and they stop talk. So I said, why you all stop talking? They said, no, we see you turn. I said, you're the Guyanese, right? Yeah. And they said, you are Guyanese, right? I said, yeah. Say, you are David Hines, right? I said, yeah. And you walk, I just love it because to hear, you become a kind of outsider because you are traveling and these people are working. So you get a chance kind of like to eavesdrop and you're hearing yourself. Because if you go up to when you go up to the counter to present your documents, you have to speak perfect British American English. And to hear these brothers and sisters walking, they're lashing off that Guyanese Creole, not just the Creole, a Guyanese Creole. It's really a beautiful thing to listen to. And you're glad that you're Guyanese. You are so glad that you're Guyanese. Doc, I know that you, as a young man, spend some time in Albai's tongue. The Rastaman says not Albai's, it's Alman tongue. Right? You come out of Christianburg, the ghetto, if you will, of Linden, because that is like a ghetto in the ghetto.
Yeah.
And when you come to town, it's Alman tongue. So nobody can tell you about ghetto. And let me tell the audience here what ghetto means. It means when you segregate people in a space by themselves, and all they see there is themselves, and all they reproduce is themselves. They're locked off from the rest of the world. That's what the term ghetto means. So there's some people who say, why do we say ghetto? It's a negative term. Well, yes. Other people use it in a negative way. But people who live in those spaces use it differently. They're saying, you put us here, we reproduce ourselves, and in some respects, we reproduce beauty. But in other regards, the ugliness that you leave here in the form of poverty, we reproduce that too. So insofar as ghetto is ugly, it is ugly because of the poverty that you have left us to reproduce. But it's beautiful because it's out of this ghetto that comes some of the great minds, some of the great intellect, some of the genius of our society. Because in a way, they're not contaminated with external things. They reproduce a kind of beauty that is virgin. But they also represent, like I said, imposed poverty. And I make reference to your origins because I think it's instructive. Here you are, Dr. Vincent Adams, one of Guyana's finest cricketers of the generation, and then go on to be one of our finest intellect, specializing in a rarity, not liar and doctor and sociologist. And so you're engineer, right? You're engineer, right? So in a sense, representing the beauty that come out of the ghetto once it's unlocked. And I want to say that given that history, when you saw the minister and the president venturing into Tiger Bay recently, what went through your mind?
Well, it was very insulting, to be honest, because we know that it's not serious. They've been in power, and this is what I said to my wife and others. How many years have they been in office? Going way back 20-something years. Because remember, out of the last 32 years or so, they've been in office for probably 28 of those. Okay, but suddenly they're going into Tiger Bay. And by the way, I'll buy some on Tiger Bay. I always had a rivalry with
I know that.
So I remember we used to walk all the way to the sea on Sunday morning and play football against each other and stuff. But anyway, to get in there, we know that what their motive is, Dr. Hines. It's not a sincere, genuine motive. It's about going in there and photo op with some half-naked kids, young black kids. I don't see them going and taking photo ops with little young Indian kids in the Indian community. But what they're doing, they're going to this community, and it's because of the location of where Tiger Bay is. Kingston has now become prime property, where the Pegasus is, the Marriott is, you got Water Street. They want, they're not coming out and playing words, but you can read through the lines. They want that entire community to be converted into real property. Dr. Hines, this is no different to Moko. It's maybe an upgrade of Moko, where they hadn't started bulldozing houses yet, but they probably learned their lesson from Moko. But trust me, it's going to turn out to be the same results. And the biggest fear, Dr. Hines, the biggest fear, and I believe they're setting a trap for the opposition. And you, of course, know you're in Parliament. Because now they're going in there with lots of PR to let it appear they're doing something good for the community. And I'm hoping that there should be a counter to let the community understand what is this about. Because the next thing they're going to do, Dr. is, I could bet my bottom dollar, they're going to get a couple of residents in that Tiger Bay area to say this is the best thing that ever happened.
Yes.
For us. So when you go out there, when you're trying to say here, rather than going out there and taking a photo up, what is your plan? They just show up one day. What is the plan for Tiger Bay? Tell us. What is the plan? But I think that's where they're going with this. They're going to get a couple of residents to say, here, this is the best thing that happened to us. And then they're going to be putting their intent is to put the opposition on the back foot, that to let you appear as if you're opposing development.
Yes.
That's what's going to happen. I'm telling you, I could read the playbook here. And that is why the opposition, and I caution some of my friends, be careful. Don't go out there and let it appear as if you're, challenge them to show the plan. And depending upon the plan, we will support any development of Tiger Bay, any development that appears to be reasonable and fits the needs of the community. So don't let them get off and going on, because they do not have a plan. I'll be willing to guarantee you there's no plan, but I think they're trying to set a trap to let it appear that if as if the opposition is gonna we don't want development, and they're gonna get a few people to say it's the best thing that ever happened. But that property they wanted bad. It's just like the Moko. Look who's occupying the prime property in that Moko area, that they bulldoze people's homes. It's the same thing. That Kingston, look where that Kingston area is located. It's right the seawall by the bandstand, the new bandstand that they developed, hooks into the Marriott, the Pegasus. That's what's going on, Dr. Hines.
Dr. Vincent Adams here sounding the bell, sounding the warning. The proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the eating. Dr. Adams, I'm going to put some images to you because you love sports. You were a sportsman and still you are still a sportsman in particular cricket, but well, you're a sportsman. I'm putting 3 images to you. Linden fighting to get the government to put the all-weather track in Linden rather than Lenora. A promised basketball court in Tiger Bay. And a stadium, a stadium in Bobby's.
Yep, Palmyra.
In Palmyra, yes, a stadium in Bobby's. A refusal to put the all-weather track where it's needed most, and a basketball court in Tiger Bay. Talk to us, doctor.
And that's been one of my pet peeves. As a matter of fact, you remember I'd written a letter before the election saying the 12 reasons why Lindeners must not vote for the PPP. That all-weather track, the opposition handed over that all-weather track way, with a lot of progress. It had already started. And it what was it in this is 2020. We'd already started it, done a lot of the groundwork, started building the track. And you want to tell me it's now what, 5 years, Dr. Hines, and you can't finish a simple all-weather track? And then when I ran into the president, I remember I ran into him in Grenada last year, and he was arguing with me that the track was completed, which means that it wasn't important, because if he's telling me in front of some other prime ministers in the Caribbean, it was at the CARICOM meeting when Clive Lloyd was getting his award, his CARICOM award. And so he and I got into an argument. He was telling me that it was completed. And I had to tell him, I said, Chief, at best, you were misinformed. You're being misinformed. But if that is so important and he's believing that it's completed, that means there's no interest in it. And on top of that, Dr. Hines, that they took over the Mackenzie Sports Club. I had no problem with them building, doing renovating the Mackenzie Sports Club. They completely rebuilt it. It's been over 2 years that there, because of that and no input from the community has not taken part in any sports whatsoever. We've not played cricket. We've not run tracks. We've not done anything in the past 2 to 3 years, Dr. Hines. No athletic activity in Linden, which to me, Linden is the area of the prime. It's a prime sports area. Every year we win the inter-schools championships, but we couldn't participate in no sport whatsoever because the one and only facility, which is the Mackenzie Sports Club, was taken away, and until now it's still not completed. So here it is: the track still cannot be completed, and the Mackenzie Sports Club still cannot be completed. So there's no sports facility for the youngsters to participate, which would have been devastating for folks like myself, because it was because of that sports facility, Mackenzie Sports Club, that I was able to play cricket, table tennis, football. We produced some great national athletes. There was a guy by the name of Screw Richmond, who I thought he used to play football, center for Guyana. I thought he was probably the best athlete that Guyana has ever produced, table tennis, football, cricket, everything. He was the national billiards champion. But we produce some really good athletes, and then track and field. Well, this was after I left. We produced a lot of national track and field athletes. So, but we right now, Dr. Hans, do not have, and for the past 2 years, do not have any facility whatsoever to participate in sports. So, could you imagine a community such as Linden not having any place to go and play any sports? That's the situation in Linden. And now that the PPP lost the election up there, it's interesting to see, what else is going to be expected of them.
But talk to us about the contrast there, as we can see. Palmyra gets a
Yeah,
stadium, and they're telling us that they're going to give
yeah.
Tiger Bay a basketball court. What's the difference between Tiger Bay and
Well, one is getting a basket. You can do your own. You can judge for yourself. One is getting a basketball court, and who knows what the basketball court surface might be. But one is getting a basketball, another one is getting a stadium. But it's not only the stadium. They're also, Dr. Hines, I don't know if you noticed, they're also building a cricket academy in Berbice. I think it's Port Morant or someplace, a cricket academy. So everything seems, and you can go beyond cricket, Dr. Hines. If you look back, when I was a youngster growing up in Linden, I remember we were always clamoring for a mining engineering campus to be in Linden, because Linden, of course, was the mining town in the country. We never got any of that, and we were even calling for a university, just a semi-university campus, because of the many people from Linden who had to commute, and you had to afford to commute to get to Georgetown to go to UG. Do you know what the PPP did as soon as they got into office? And no, I think they were applauded for it, as far as I'm concerned. They built a campus. Guess where?
Teen?
As soon as they got into office, they built a campus in Teen. And on to now, Lindeners still have to trek to head there. So you can go, and here on top of this, Dr. Hein, guess where they've built the oil and gas school? At Port Morant. That's where the big oil and gas training that Exxon is involved in, it's at Port Morant. So, I mean, you don't have to be some kind of a scholar to figure that out as to what's happening there.
Yeah, and we have to continue to point out these subtexts, because I mean, people, the PPP, they go into an area, they swing around some children, they lift them up half naked, and they, in a lot of the cases there, I doubt whether Priya Manichan understand the history of what she was doing and how negative that history has been. This thing about going into poor neighborhoods and making people's poverty a kind of ornament, a spectacle. And in particular, in Black communities in the United States and even in Africa, we all grew up seeing these movies and documentary with pot-bellied children, half-naked children, and so on. And here's a minister of government oblivious to that history and how insultive it is to Black people. Now, even if the Black people in Tiger Bay don't know that negative history, you as a leader ought to know that history, and you ought not to do it. I mean, we Black people love watermelon, but we all know the negative history. Just give some Black people, just give them a piece of watermelon and they're going to be happy. A lot of us don't understand how negative those images are, understandably so, because racism is not a nice thing. And so people would rather not engage it. But as leaders, you don't want to do that. Nobody can get me to go into some Indian area and lifting up half-naked Indian children, I'll tell them, go to hell. And in any case, I don't think them pandit and Indian leaders going to allow any African to go into an Indian communities and do what Priya Manik Chan and others done in the black community. I'm saying Priya may not understand the negative images of what she has done. But now that I have taught her that there's a history, oh man, apologize. But instead of apologize, David Hines is preaching divisive race.
Yeah. And you know, and even there was another subtle piece of that video. I don't know if you recall, when the young man was smoking.
Yes.
Stuff. You know, she had to point that out.
Yes.
You know, in addition to
peace to me.
Yeah, give me peace. But
you're burning something.
Yeah, but you know, but she had to point that out in terms of the image. Yep, you know, in terms of, you know, that's what we're about. You know, we're half naked and when I say we, Dr. Hines, I speak in terms of Guyanese and
yes,
and when I say we also is because of my background, where it came from. Because nobody can lecture me about race, because my mother is Indian and my father is black. So
there you go.
So nobody can come and lecture me that has anything to do with race. But you know, so the other thing I want to bring up here, Dr. Hines, and I'm glad now that you're an MP. I'm gonna load you up here with this.
Yes, please do. Please do.
So here is one. Going back to Linden, and this was one of my 12 things that I advised the Linden people why they must not vote for the PPP. There is something called a board of guardian, apparently in every community or every city. And that board of guardian, what it does, it provides for public assistance. They're in control of the public assistance program for poor people. And I believe in Linden, and I don't know, I think they get like maybe $20,000 a month. Well, guess what, Dr. Hines? That board, listen to this. That board in Linden, it has 8 board members. Every single one of those board members are East Indians, Dr. Hines.
In Linden?
In Linden. Every one of those board members are East Indian. And I spoke about it. So, you know, I put it in there before the election as one of the reasons why Linderners should not vote. And so when that board got into office, they removed almost 800 Linderners, poor people who, you know, who are physically impaired, removed them off of the roll. About 800 Linderners were removed off of the roll with this 8 board members. Now you tell me, if that is not, you know, like I said, if that's not racist, I don't know what else is. So I hope, because, and why I'm bringing this up to you, I think it was a few weeks ago after the elections, Mr. Jagdio said that that's one of the things they're looking at. These board, he didn't mention Linden specifically, but they're looking to, in terms of these assistants, these public assistants, they're going to be appointing these board of guardians. So I'm bringing this to your attention, Dr. Hines, that this here, you know, it's ought to be something that has to be addressed.
It has to be addressed. And, you know, they're really taking advantage of a society that doesn't like to deal with the issue of race. Doesn't. I mean, and it's not just in Guyana. Racism is a negative thing. It's a negative thing to designate people because of their skin color and make assumptions about them because of their skin color. If they would go into all areas, Amerindian areas, East Indian areas, African areas, and say, you know, we're going to build a basketball court for you, and that's development. Now we can say, well, equal opportunity, because they're doing it in all areas. But the fact that they only do it in African areas, which means they make assumptions about the skin color, that this skin color, all you have to do is to give them some football and some basketball, and they're going to be happy. And then you move to an Indian area, and you're talking sugar with them. You're talking transferring sugar workers into oil field workers. You're talking substance. You're talking about a stadium where people can make money with the presence of a stadium. No, I don't know what they tell Amerindians. I don't know. I can imagine if African telling Africans about baseball and basketball and thing is bad enough. I don't think they even tell Amerindians about that. And I'm saying, in that sense, they know what they're doing. And we have to keep pointing it out. You know, they're doing Indians a disservice because the average Indian doesn't want to talk about race. But I tell you, if the government changes tomorrow and an APNU government comes into power, Indians would be talking about race from morning till night. And so they're taking advantage of the situation. My point is here, as I said, I don't expect Priya Manichan to know that swinging babies and talking about burning spliff in the hood, in the ghetto, it is a negative thing and it has a long negative history. I don't expect her to know it. That's not our interest. We don't teach the history of race and the different ethnic groups in our schools. So as bright as she is, she wouldn't know that. But I'm saying somebody like myself who has studied it, teach it, and I am now telling you, Priya, you can't do that. Say thanks, Dr. Hines. Thanks. I now learned something, but instead of you cussing me, that I is a fossil, and I is this, and I is that. And I ain't cuss back, Priya, because I don't cuss ladies. I find it difficult to cuss a woman and more cuss a man, right? But I won't cuss. But I feel so sorry because I think she is one of the more enlightened of the PPP hierarchy. She's one of the more enlightened. But you know, she always gets herself into this mess. When she go on Allah in parliament for rape, and now she into this nonsense, allowing herself to be used in that way. I think she's better than that. And all I was doing is trying to help the sister to say, do not get yourself in that mess again. I am telling you.
You know, Dr. Hein, but I think a key point here that we both should point out, because I think we came from a similar background. You from Buxton, and I from, you know, where I came from Christianborg and Albaistown. And the one thing, and I would never trade if I have to come back again. I hope and wish that I would come back, you know, never change the way I was brought up and the areas that I came up with, because that instilled, and you know, the strength, the strength of, in some cases, survival, but that mental strength of competitiveness, because you got to fight. You know, you're living in this underprivileged community, and you've got to fight for survival every day, even among yourselves every day. But it builds that strength. And the one thing you learn, Dr. Hines, is, especially if you're fortunate enough to advance out of that community, to develop yourself out of that community, the one lesson that you learn is that every person that grew up in those communities, all they need is an opportunity. All they need is that opportunity. And I wish that politicians could understand that. Nobody in those communities are less bright than everybody else who grew up in the affluent areas. But you need, had I not gotten the opportunity, Dr. Hines, I never paid a dime. And I've never paid a dime for any of my schooling from primary school, all of my degrees and everything to university. I have never paid a dime, but it was because of that grounding that I was able to succeed. And the people who looked out for me, my teachers, who they made certain that I was guided properly. And that is the reason why I had dedicated myself, to continue. And I'm not a politician per se in wanting any political position, but my objective and is to help those in those communities. That's why for over 12 years I was head of you remember the Linen Fund USA?
Yes.
Taking, help teaching and teachers, to help out the teachers and medical assistants and that type of stuff. But people need that opportunity. And so instead of going into the Tiger Bay and with a big pot and cooking and all kind of foolishness. Take money. You spend 60% of the budget, 60% of the budget on infrastructure where it's the avenue for corruption, because those is that 1 or 5 or 10% that is getting the hog of the money. Spend just a small fraction of that to identify those kids that need help, those communities that need help, such as Tiger Bay, Albaistam. Spend that small amount of money to develop that community. You could afford it now, but don't go in there with a big pot of food as if you're dealing with a bunch of hungry belly little kids.
There you go. That's where that term comes from.
Yeah. Yep.
That's where it comes from. And Doc, you know that there got people who got more pride than poor people.
No.
Jesus.
No.
No,
Dr. Hines. No.
Look how them lady would pull you aside.
Yep.
If you're giving them a raise, they stretch out their hand in public.
Nope.
You pull you aside.
And not only play, it's manners more. We call it manners. The biggest, because when you grow up in those communities, you're so closely knit that you might behave bad in front of somebody else, some other adult. You get a whipping. And so you look out for each other. So it's that camaraderie, it's that brotherhood and sisterhood that we grow up in. Those are the value system in those communities that you really don't appreciate it until you get out and understand. You don't have all the money, but we never. What's interesting though, Dr. In those days, you didn't even know that you were poor.
No. It was normative. Yes.
You didn't know you were poor. So, and I think that made a difference, because when we got to where we are, money doesn't mean anything to us in turn. So we're not going to go and compromise ourselves to be rich. You compromise yourself, become corrupt, and looking for a dollar, because we, whatever we had, we thought that we were okay. That was normal way of living.
Yes. Good evening to all of you. This is Politics 101. Dr. Adams, the other night I was at the airport there at Cheddy Jagan Airport, and somebody said, Dr. Hines, and I went across, and I couldn't make the person out because he said, you don't know who I am? And I looked, and he said, who taught us to read and write in Little ABC and Big, and all we are to write on the slate? And automatically I knew was one of my Little ABC classmates, Dr. John. He's a bone doctor in Box. He put on beard now, and he beard gray like me on and so on. And he met it for us. And we talked for about 5 minutes. I noticed one of our mutual friends in on here, Sister Lynette Zephyr. And we talked for 5 minutes. And what we talked about 5 minutes? By all we, when them people teach me and all we, and we come out good,
Yep.
And then he asked me, when last you see Stanley? When last you see this body? Who that? And we're talking about, and in 5 minutes, we went right back to the ABC and come forward. And Teacher Emmy is now dead, who was the big ABC teacher. And Teacher Paulette was the little ABC teacher. She's still alive. And both of us said, I visited her about 6 years ago. He said he ran into her about 2 years ago. And we both said, but we have to go because she's now in her 70s, moving on and so on. Yes. I am saying that to say, to reinforce what you just said, is that we who come out of abject poverty are constantly conscious of it. And we are constantly trying to figure out how we made it out and why we made it out and why we have a responsibility.
Absolutely.
To see the face of poverty wiped from Guyana.
I like to use rather than responsibility, I like to use obligation.
There you go.
Obligation.
There you go. And you know, Dr. John, he does a lot of this thing that you all in the Linden organization would do, carry medical people back and so on. He does a lot. He's a medical doctor. He's a bone doctor. And he does that. And he was telling me that he does it, again, out of, as you say, obligation. That he feels because he's constantly asking himself, as I do, as you do, what if it wasn't for education?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so when we look at Tiger Bay, I don't want to see a physical Tiger Bay. What I want to see is people get out of that mess.
Yeah.
Get out of that mess. Get out of poverty. You know, my brother Takuma was making the point today to us. He was saying, what house you gonna build in Tiger Bay? Whoa. It's a gimmick. They just want to take over Tiger Bay and so on.
Yeah.
What we want is for people to get out of that misery.
Yep.
Move them to some other place, give them jobs, give them education,
That's
give
right.
them meaningful cash grants. You can call it the new Tiger Bay or whatever you want to call it, but
Yeah.
they need to get out of that messy place.
That's right.
In the past, I understand that they moved some of the people out, take them out, but didn't provide a better life, and people come right back
Yeah.
in Tiger Bay. So if you are talking about helping Tiger Bay people, it's not about refurbishing the infrastructure in Tiger Bay.
Where is the plan, Dr. Hines? The bottom
There you
line
go.
is, where is the plan? Let them show us, you guys, especially you guys in Parliament, where is the plan? And not only that, Dr. Hines, they should be engaging the opposition in working on that plan. As a matter of fact, that community is more that come from the opposition community.
Than them.
They should be engaging the opposition in working on a plan for that community, whatever it is, to make it better. Whether it's to move them out into a new. I don't care if they want to take over that area and they want to dress it up with the hotels or whatever it is. However, the plan. What is your plan in terms of taking care of these people, to give them a future? To give them
That's
a
right.
future.
It is the people. It is the people. I ain't going in Tiger Bay and lift up no baby and so on. I know better than that.
Yeah.
I know better. You know better than that, Doc. That we
Yeah.
ain't going into Tiger Bay to lift up anybody. The WPA first office was in Tiger Bay. We stayed in Tiger Bay as an officer for about 10 years. And so we literally lived for those 10 years in Tiger Bay and have a sense of the motion of that community. And all of us come from Tiger Bays. They may not be called Tiger Bay. They're ghetto in the ghetto.
Yeah.
In my village of Buxton Bagdam side people are considered to be in the ghetto of the larger ghetto of
That's
Buxton and so on. And I go down to Buxton Bagdam side and I don't make assumptions of who those people are and assume that they're looking for raise or no, you treat them with dignity. You go there and you treat them with you listen to them. I passed down there the other morning. And them boys sit down taking the early morning talks till about 10 o'clock. And they yell out to me, "You are our opposition." I said, "You are crazy, but they said, no, Doc, you're getting it wrong. You are our opposition leader. And it's not what you saying, it's what we telling you."
Yeah.
Right? And so I'm saying, you go and you listen to those people. I mean, one of the things I learned from Guyana is listen to people. Even if they're drunk, listening to them. So if you're going into Tiger Bay, let the people tell you about their existence. The first man that talked in the video, he said, "Well, where you all come for tell the ghetto people?" And the minute they or that, they should have managed themselves. I say, "All right, let me listen to these people." But no, they're in an ironic way. The normative thing in the head is them people need help.
Yeah.
Whereas it's them who need help, not the people.
That's right. Exactly. And you don't have to go far. We saw it. And a lot of people wonder, well, why this as a Zaradine guy, why he was so successful. If you notice, and I point this out to people, when he goes for community, when he was electioneering, when he goes there, he stands there, he doesn't say much, Dr. Hines.
Yes.
But he takes his head and he takes notes also. Even it doesn't mean at least he's appearing that he's listening and he's interested in what they're saying. And I think that had a lot to do with it. He hardly said anything. He was going there. He wanted to hear their issues, and everybody got up and they vented and did what it did. He made notes and even went back and take some actions out of his own pocket because he could have afforded it. But you are absolutely correct. Is going there and listening to people rather than imposing upon people what you want.
Dr. Vincent Adams here tonight on a Friday night. We're talking about poverty. We're talking about poverty alleviation. Tiger Bay has been brought into the news by the PPP's visit there, Minister Manik Chan, who I like. I like you, really, I do. The president was there. And we thought that they made some cultural errors, some cultural mistakes. I don't think that they were presumptuous. They just don't know. They just don't know political etiquette. They don't know it. And yes, I was off the block very early and pointing out to them that that's not how you do it. You're going to alienate the very people that you think you want to pull out of poverty. You go there and you're talking to them about all of the things except poverty. Except poverty. And that's on their mind. That's how they mind. How am I getting out of this prison? How am I getting out of this prison? Dr. Adams, you, me, the vast majority, if not all of the people in this audience tonight, if you ask us at what point we got out of the ghetto, we are not going to be able to tell you it was on a Thursday morning or on a Friday night. We just knew when we got out of goal, right? And it's a process. And because our minds, some of us still remain there, we are not able to make that distinction. And in any case, even if we got out of the ghetto in terms of economic condition, the fact that our skin is dark or brown, in a sense, binds us to the ghetto and refuses to allow us to leave the ghetto, you know, because you are constantly having to go back there. You have school friends. I have schoolmates and school friends. And you go back to the community and you know that by the bright mode of me.
Absolutely.
You know that.
Without question.
You know that by the bright mode of you.
Absolutely.
And he's toiling, he's doing security work, he's making $1. But if he had the opportunity that you
absolutely.
He won't have been watching Man Nobody Plays.
Yeah.
And so constantly you have to be thinking how these people can be released out of prison.
Yeah.
The PPP is not interested in that. For them, this thing is a political gimmick.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that people must not do things and take political credit for it. That's not what we're saying. We are saying, but you don't start there. You don't start there. You don't start there. I went to 2 high school. Buxton High School, Buxton Government Secondary School is now defunct, and Bladenhall Multilateral. If you come to me and tell me about anything but Bladenhall, or I ain't got to ask you nothing. That's where I come from. I ain't got to ask nothing. And so on. They have some activities going on at Bladenhall this week. I'm sorry I'm away, but they contact. I said, the first thing I asked, how can I help in my absence? Because you are constantly saying, that's where I come from.
Yeah.
And I want it to be better. I want it to be better. I want, now that my name is known, I want my name to be attached to Bladenhall so that people can know that Bladenhall gave rise to people with loud voices.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure the same is the same for you, because I know that you are involved in a lot of things in Linden.
Without question. When I was in Guyana, and I was living in Georgetown when I was working for the government thing again. And almost every weekend, I used to make it my duty to go up to Linden and hang out in the alleys and the corners that I grew up in. And that times is the best feelings that I get when I'm in the US, doing my job. I mean, yeah, at the highest level, like the White House and Congress. When you go there, it's just to give you. It's something that you have to do, but it's not something that you really. It's just instinctively or intuitively that you're performing. It's just coming to you naturally. It's something you're putting on to accomplish a job. But you see, when I go and you relax, I go up to Linden and you relax, you sit by the corners or in those alleys, and you yapping with them, with people who grew up with you. It's the best feelings that time. And it's not only the best people who grew up with you, because even the youngsters, the youngsters, they just love, they would come around, they'd see it, your face in the papers, you come from Linden, and you're one of the old timers, and they hear your name. They love to come and hang around with you and chat and tell them old time stories and all kinds of things. So it's the best. My best enjoyment is doing those type of things. And you're right. You never come out of the ghetto. You never come out of the ghetto. Sometimes what I wish for. I know it's not realistic. For more of the politicians to have grown up with that type of a background in real life, for them to have gone through where you and I came from. And I think the not only Guyana, but the world would be a better world if we have politicians who were there and experience the life that we experience, which I would not, like I said, I would not exchange it for anything. Because had it not been for that life, I don't know if I'd grown up with richness. I'm not sure if I would have been motivated enough to be what I became.
Motivated enough. And as I said, tonight's program is dedicated to my friends and family in Arizona. It's good to be away for long, and then you come back and you walk into your house and you don't have to worry about nothing. The blind put up, the place pick and span, the yard nice and thing. And often we forget these little things. We forget these little things because you're dealing with, as they say, big things. You're dealing with politics, and you forget these small things that make a difference. And so I dedicate my program tonight. Tonight, our program is dedicated to my friends and family in Arizona. My brother Nigel Noreen and his family, the Noreens, the Williamses, the Emmanuel's, and so enough love to you all. One always sometimes gloss over these little acts, and that's what I'm saying. You become what you are not because of special talents that you have. That may be true, but you become who you are because there was a community that made it possible for you to be there. So many people in my small village who come up to me and vent. They said, Twilly, I know you can't do nothing, but just want you listen to me. This body want thief me land. This body want get away with this body. And you stand there and you listen to them. You listen to them, and that's all they're asking. And that's something I think our political people have to learn, that you don't run from your constituents because they know the limitations as an opposition politician, as an opposition political activist. They know the limitations. They know, but just like my neighbor Ann Big No, she take long for walk from one place, but she walk from she house, come over to me, gaff with me for a whole hour. And I think I mentioned it on this program. She had to pass a couple days and say, bye, you get me mother all up in cloud nine. Me say, what happened? You mention your neighbor come and talk to you on the program. I said, I hear the program. She said, well, every afternoon she dep on you. On Polydor, if you're listening, Doc, sometimes that's all our people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's all our people ask.
Yeah.
And I hope on our side, the APNU, AFC side, that we understand that we may think that we have to move mountains to do better at elections again. I want to submit, we ain't got to move mountains.
Nope.
We got to do some basic things.
Yeah.
We got to do some basic things. When I walk Georgetown, Doc, at least somebody in Parliament to talk for black people.
Yeah.
Let's tell the PPP, follow me. You all believe black people don't understand that they're black and they don't understand they get beaten up. They're frustrated that not enough of us speak out for them.
Yes. Absolutely.
And so on. They know that there's not much we can do, but they want us to fight. They want us to fight. They want us to stand up and say no. They want us to stand up and say no. And we have to do more of that. Doc, your closing thoughts.
Well, you know, one of the things that I think that we ought to learn, and we think that people talk about old-fashioned politics, which is you go visit the community. But what happens, and this is all, even in the United States, it's happened. When you wait until it's come around to election time, and then you start showing up. It's an orchestrated thing. You start showing up. The people are not fooled by that. We've got to keep this thing going throughout for every single day. Especially, I'm sure you have somebody like you as an example in Buxton. I'm sure you do politics every single day. The people see your face, you listen to their, so it's not like, a visit with several set of people coming in. That's orchestrated. It's got to appear to be natural and genuine. But I want to raise something here, Dr. Hines, that has been in the news. That again, as an MP, we gotta, these are the kinds of things. Growing up, well, not growing up, but we're developing into a full-blown autocracy. Here you have this Gino Prasad. Remember, Gino Prasad just ruled, Honorable Justice just ruled.
Yes.
And then you have him being blasted by the government. And I don't know if you noticed, Dr. Hines, but I understand that they have removed Judge Kissoon. They have sent him to Essequibo. They've exiled him in Essequibo. So now Gina Prasad made a judgment, and all hell broke loose with the politicians, including the Attorney General had an entire program criticizing this man and lambasting him. Well, I mean, where the heck are we going? And then they talk about a democracy. And so, these are the kinds of things that people have to take note of, and to do whatever it is to put a stop to it.
There we go. Somebody named Ryan Prasad here. This man, David, doesn't see well. This is what PPP is reducing Indian people to. I don't know. I don't know where, and I understand. That's why I don't bother with cussing Indian people. I understand where the PPP is leading. They don't understand it. They're creating a community of hate. Yep. And somebody's telling me the man that Ryan Prasad get on a thick glasses and he cussing. He get on glasses 10 times thick than the one we get. Somebody's just pointing this up in the picture. And that's what I'm saying to black people. We are socializing you all to fight and to fight back, but not to hate. Not to hate. And I'm clear about that. Our blackness is a dignified blackness, not an undignified blackness. And I pray that you all don't do like these men and women who are out there. But of course, they can do what they do, and the ERC will send them to rehab. If all you do the same thing, they're sending you all to jail like baby Skello. And they say that we don't live in a racist society. My brother, love us always.
Always a nice being back again, you know, and all the best, all the very best. I know you're gonna give them hell in Parliament. You're probably gonna be their biggest nightmare. So you know, we're so proud of you and wish you all the best, Dr. Hines.
Thank you very much. Let's hear what we can do before we go. Let's see here.
What's wrong? I have done.
Dedicated to Dr. Vincent Adams.
You did not reply. I wanna know, where have you gone wrong? Already know, been gone. Answer me, please, oh please, before I die. Before you left, you said you were never break my heart. Oh, please answer me, my sweetheart. Oh, read it to her, honey.
Guitar here, Dr. Hines.
Please